and Christine Horn. Also on the dais, down on the far right, we have our General Manager, Sue Ellen McCoy, and our Assistant General Manager and Director of Golf, Keith Harris. So with that, the board has seen and reviewed the minutes of the May 18th, 2024 annual meeting. I will accept a, excuse me,
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the 2024 meeting.
Teal Lang makes a motion to approve the meeting minutes as written. Do I have a second? Second. I have a second from Mike Moot. Any discussion? No changes? All those in favor say aye. The motion carries. The next item on the agenda is a review of the 2024 audit from Sam Timothy, our accountant. Sam is down on the far end down there. He's going to speak to this a little bit later in the meeting. Right now we have him busy tallying handwritten votes, which we will pause at this point to distribute ballots for anyone who has not cast your vote, or for anybody that voted online who wishes to change their vote. So anybody that needs a ballot who has not voted or wants to vote, raise your hands. So we have a handful. They'll be coming around. Once you have completed your votes, if I could ask. Okay. That's pretty, okay.
It's after the fact. That one right there. Yep.
Okay. So in just a minute, we will introduce all of the candidates to you. Keep your hands up if you haven't gotten a ballot yet. Georgia, we have a handful more back here and a couple of gentlemen back there. We have some people with hands up here and back here. Anybody else? We got one more back here. Okay, with that, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Sue Ellen McCoy, who will introduce the candidates.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. So obviously one of the most important part of today's meeting is the election of the Board of Directors. So I want to start by thanking all of the candidates who have put their name in the hat. So each candidate will have up to 2 minutes to introduce themselves, share a bit about their background, and explain why they're running for a position on the board. And we will just start alphabetical order, first name. I would like to welcome Dana Sharrock. You can come on back here, yeah. You're fine.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming out today. It's going to be a gorgeous day, we hope. We don't get those thunderstorms this afternoon. I'm Dana Sharrock. My husband and I have owned property here in White Bluff since 2016. Well, I think it actually recorded in 2017. We've lived here, built our first home in 2021, and we love White Bluff. I care deeply about this community. And I'm running because I want to help preserve White Bluff, the feel that we have now, and also looking forward, help to plan for our long term, which means Of course, we all know we need to repair our roads, and that's ongoing, and I'm fully confident that we're going to make strides there. Recently, the fire mitigation efforts began, which I feel is really important as well because of all of the, wooded areas that we have here. I know we want to maintain the deer habitat, but I think we can do that responsibly. I come from Alaska, where we have serious wildfire risk, and we keep a 25-foot dispensable space around our homes. I think here already started with the brush clearing and the approval for folks to go ahead and start doing some other clearing. That's great. I think we can still maintain the habitat for the wildlife. And again, of course, long-range planning, looking at all of our amenities, seeing what we need to put aside going forward to make sure that we maintain our property values here in White Bluff. And again, maintain that sense of community. That's what is so great and what makes White Bluff what it is. So I appreciate you again, and I look forward to working together with the board on behalf of all of the White Bluff property owners.
Up next, Kevin Watson.
Good morning, White Bluffers. Thanks for coming out. There's a lot of things that we know we can do better. Transparency is, and a lot of things we can do better is free. Transparency is a big subject out here. Getting our amenities back. We always hear make America great again, make White Bluff great again. I just want to get White Bluff back. We've been here 11 years. By the way, my name's Kevin Watson. I live over here on White Crest Drive. We've been here 11 years, and I like to get it back the way it was 11 years when I moved here. And there's a lot of work we can do. I'm not going to hit Mike Ellis if he makes the re-election. I'm not going to hit him for money every day. I want to join this board. I want to help this board. I want to have eyes and ears with this board. I want to help them get better and the community get better. I'm on the fire department for 7 years, board of directors on the fire department, so I know a little bit about money and operations. Fire department we have, Chief's going to talk about it. The fire department we have is probably the best top 3 volunteer fire departments in the state of Texas. Now, we can toot our horn and say we're the best in Hill County, but you know what? White Bluff got a little bit more money than some of the folks on 2604. See, so let's don't get our ego going, okay? Let's just continue to support. By the way, if you don't have anything to do, please join the fire department. I'm pretty good at recruiting. Now, really, I want to thank the boards, I've been out here 11 years, for all they've done. We've come a long ways. When I moved out here, it was pretty much still in the prime. Then we got into some issues with Double Diamond. Then we got some issues with COVID. Then we got issues with lawsuits. We had a lot of issues. There's not a lot of blame on the board. There's a lot of blame, just the bad luck, okay? Now we got most of that behind us. Now it's time to go forward. I feel like right now I can help. Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Next up, Mike Ellis.
Good morning. Again, Can you hear me? Again, good morning. Thank you all for coming, especially on a Saturday. The primary reason I would like to continue on the board is we've lived out here for 10 years. We've gone through the ups and downs, the financial issues that we had over those years, the legal battles we had over those years. We've now seen the light at the end of the tunnel. We talk a lot about long-term planning. I have done that for 30 years, and I want to continue to use my expertise to assist our community in expanding and bringing back the amenities in a financially sustainable way. Other than that, I'm a person of short, very few words, so thank you all very much.
Next up, Steve Bell.
Thank you very much. Good morning. My wife and I have lived out here for a year and a half. And the one thing that was not listed on my bio was we moved from a community that had a HOA, and I had the honor of serving on the board from the time we took over from the developer, and I was actually the president of the board, so I understand the difficulty that the board members always meet. The first thing I noticed when we moved out here was the professionalism that was represented by the board. There's a lot of talent out here. There's a lot of talent sitting in front of me. So I'd like to see that continue on. My history is retired from Dallas Police Department, was there 34 years. I understand what it's like to make difficult decisions. And I thought I've made a lot of difficult decisions, but there's definitely some difficult decisions when you sit on the board, and I feel like that I am qualified for that. So I would appreciate your consideration. Thank you very much for being here.
And now Will Sasser.
Okay, good morning. My name's Will Sasser. Our primary home is at 10031 Crest Ridge Court. You may know us as the house that almost burned, and thanks to our wonderful fire department and the supporting communities, they've salvaged the house. We're in the midst of wrapping up rebuild. The new date is now June 7th, June 16th. So my beautiful bride's done a wonderful job pulling everything together, but it's been a long road. During that journey, we learned a lot about White Bluff. Just, wow, I didn't expect that. Just how wonderful and supportive the community has been for us. It's been a tough year. My concerns and my goals for the board and the reasons why I want to continue to serve is to contribute to the welfare and safety of the community. By doing that, I work with the volunteer fire department, and it's a quality group of people totally dedicated to this community. We enjoy the work at the chapel, me and part of that family. And then my primary, I guess what I bring to the table the most, other than a passion for the welfare and safety of the community, is a financial working knowledge. I can pretty much go through a balance sheet and pick out strengths and weaknesses. I think that'll help us as we look forward towards long-range planning, being able to build out a plan that utilizes our resources but also leverages our assets. So I ask for your support. I appreciate my beautiful bride for putting up with me this last year. Doing the house and serving on the board and working with the community. So thank you guys. Thank you all very much.
Okay, do we have, thank you, sorry. Do we have any nominations from the floor? Okay, with there being none, please go ahead and fill out your ballot. Once you are done, please hold it in the air so that someone from Castle Group can come around and grab that ballot. If someone assigned their proxy to you, so you're filling out a ballot on their behalf, please turn in the proxy with the ballot. And you're up next.
In the interest of time, while they're collecting ballots, I'm going to go ahead and start with the 2025 annual report. And again, I welcome you all to the meeting. We decided to hold the meeting today in a tropical locale, so I'd like to welcome you all to Guatemala. I have been a part of this board since being elected to fill an unexpired term in 2017. At the time I joined the board, the White Bluff Property Owners Association was mired in a lawsuit with a group of property owners in another set of lawsuits with the property developer, Double Diamond, and in what appeared at that time to be a fruitless negotiation to acquire the amenities in White Bluff. Once elected, I attended my first meeting shortly thereafter, and in the first 5 minutes, I was elected treasurer. Wait, what? Despite my pleas that I wasn't an accountant, I was apparently the only board member present who could count to 11, so off we went. Almost immediately, the tension between the WBPOA board and Double Diamond reached its pinnacle. During the hottest part of that summer, Double Diamond closed all of the amenities, including the golf courses, the restaurants, the pools that they owned, lodging, in a word, everything. Within weeks, the golf courses looked like any other Hill County pasture. Overgrown, dead, varmint infested. The result, home values and property values plummeted. Some property owners sold at fire sale prices. They wanted to get out while the getting was good because there was no real clear path for what was going to happen next. Many of us agreed to stay and fight this board did. So I apologize for the next couple minutes. I'm going to give a little history lesson for some of you who weren't in our community in 2017 or 18. After 13 consecutive favorable rulings in our lawsuits against Double Diamond in Hill County, the court ordered the parties to mediation to try to reach a settlement in 2018. I was there along with John Bass and Jim Fletcher and Marshall Snyder and Leonard Critcher, and we weren't successful that day. But it did lay the groundwork for a purchase agreement that we signed a few months later to buy the amenities from Double Diamond for a total price tag of $4.8 million. So we paid $4.8 million for a bunch of vacant buildings, overgrown golf courses, pools that had turned green. And we looked at one another and said, what did we just do? The seller provided us a 10-year mortgage loan in the amount of $3.65 million on very favorable terms. We paid interest only for the first 2 years, and then it amortized over a long period of time over the next 8. In October of 2018, we closed on that purchase, and at that point, we owned those derelict assets, and they were producing 0 revenues. The board and we, as property owners, swallowed hard and began the process of not only reopening assets, but in many cases, rebuilding them. We began the process of renovating the golf courses, including redoing the greens, fairways, and bunkers. We renovated the Bluff condos and the log cabins. We corrected 20 years of deferred maintenance on every asset that we own. Those of you that have been here a long time know the condition of a lot of those assets. Poor is an understatement. By late summer of 2019, we were able to open the new course and the renamed Mulligans. We, and I mean the royal we, accomplished this without taking on additional debt, because each of us continued to pay our POA maintenance fees during that period while the amenities were closed. Some of us had to think long and hard about that, but we did it. We also accomplished this through your volunteer efforts as groups on their own time and sweat replaced landscaping, trimmed trees, and painted structures. This community should recognize the blood, sweat, and tears that board members, including John Bass, Leonard Critcher, Jim Fletcher, Joe Manders, Marshall Snyder, Jay Elder, and Mike Ellis, along with the late Roy Miller, put into making this place what it is today. This board has always worked in the best interest of every property owner, even when decisions may not have been popular with a group of people. I speak for the board when I say that we have never gone to sleep with an ethical dilemma as a result of a decision that we've made. In 2020, we instituted a 3-year special assessment program with a goal of raising enough money to pay off our mortgage debt and provide a pool of capital that would pay for some long overdue capital improvements throughout the community, and also to replenish our emergency reserves. That was a really popular decision, let me tell you. As Jim Fletcher reported a year ago, in late 2023, we paid off that loan years early, removing us from any indenture with Double Diamond. That was a big deal. But it also saved us hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest over the remaining term of the loan. We worked through a long list of capital projects and equipment placements along with paying off that debt with the proceeds from that special assessment. During 2023, an effort led by Jerry Meyer resulted in our receiving a long-needed and long-overdue reserve study. We hired an engineering firm that examined all of our assets, and they put a price tag on what it would take to maintain and improve those assets over a 20-year period. Those of us that saw the early drafts of that swallowed really hard, choked a little bit, stopped and had a drink, read it again, and came to the eye-opening conclusion of the study that for as much as we've done to renovate and improve our assets, the work has just begun. And that we will face more than $20 million in capital costs over the next 20 years, just to keep us where we are. Buildings are old. Some of them weren't particularly well constructed, i.e. our roads. I see some smiles in the room from people that were involved in renovation of condos and what have you, and can remember the day that we had 2 crews, one working outside and one working inside over at the Bluff condos across from the old course. They had taken off the outside stucco to replace that work, and a group inside was taking down sheetrock. All of a sudden, they're looking at one another because there's nothing in the wall. No insulation, no nothing. We've made good progress along these initiatives, but we still have a lot of work to do. During 2024, a collections committee, led by Jerry Meyer, but including Teal Lang, John Bass, and Mike Ellis, took our collection efforts to the next level as we engaged a collection agency to pursue those property owners who were delinquent in paying maintenance fees and special assessments. Again, we've made good progress on this. Our collections rate has improved, but we still have a lot of work to do there. And I think it's safe to say it's probably never ending. Also, beginning in 2024, somebody mentioned it a little bit earlier, but we began a wildfire mitigation effort. We worked with Chief Corbin, Bill Pierce from the fire department, along with members of the Architectural Control Committee, to make sure that everyone had the authority and the license to clear brush from their properties, to mow unimproved lots. We've also begun, and you saw that as you've driven in the front gate over the last 6 weeks or so, we've widened the amount that we mow along those rights of way, even beyond what we have authority to do, because it's the right thing to do from a public safety perspective. I'd like to thank Mike Moot for heading up that effort and coordinating that work with the fire department and the maintenance staff here for putting it in place. At the end of 2024, the diligent work of closely monitoring our assets, led by Rick Cepeda and others, identified a growing problem with the covered bridge. The design of that bridge, coupled with a lack of maintenance of the structure during the first 20 years of its life, resulted in the need to replace that bridge. Thankfully, because of the diligent work of the board, we were in a position where we could contract for that bridge's replacement and pay for those repairs out of our reserves without having to take on either additional debt or to pay for those reserves out of our pay for those repairs out of our reserves. Thanks to all those involved in overseeing that bridge's reconstruction, instituting a plan to reroute traffic through the much-loved boxcar entrance, and to working with our contractor to minimize the amount of time that we were all inconvenienced. I don't know about you guys, but having the bridge closed in the middle of winter was not on my 2025 bingo card, but here we are. I want to thank specifically Rick Cepeda, Roads Crew Head Rick Ashton, Security Chief Brad Farley, and our Assistant General Manager Keith Harris for delivering this project on time and within budget. The good news is I'm almost done. In 2011, a group of property owners who were angry with Double Diamond Development Company over everything from sales tactics to food and beverage add-ons to a litany of other things sued Double Diamond and the White Bluff Property Owners Association. The primary claim in what became known as the Walkinshaw case was that Double Diamond, who at that time controlled the POA, was inappropriately using POA funds to fund the operation of the golf courses. Even though the POA and Double Diamond had entered into an operating agreement 10 years prior that provided that in exchange for property owners receiving 36 rounds of golf for every lot, up to a maximum of 72, the POA would pay for golf course maintenance out of property owners' maintenance fees. After spending millions of our dollars to defend that suit, we were pleased in March 2025 to announce that all parties to the suit had agreed to the terms of a settlement, and that case was to be dismissed in its entirety. We're there. We are happy to report that the Property Owners Association spent this week about $60,000 in new money, with the balance of settlement dollars, some of which were paid by us, some of which were paid by Double Diamond, being paid out of funds that were paid into the court registry many years ago. The WBPOA never accounted for that money on its books because we never received it. It was paid to the court. So that portion of the settlement will not affect our financials. This closes this matter once and for all and stops the continued waste of property owner funds to defend the suit. This is fantastic news, and it's a game changer for all of us in terms of looking forward. Instead of spending thousands of dollars monthly on legal fees, that money can be redirected to improving amenities, repairing roads, and generally moving White Bluff to the next level. It's truly an exciting time to be a property owner here. The WBPOA board going forward will be responsible for managing a more than $10 million annual budget in what is one of the largest and fastest growing communities in Hill County. This board is loaded with experienced professional people that understand the future challenges that we face. White Bluff Resort is a wonderful place to live, and Sherry and I have found it to be a wonderful place to not only live, but to invest over the past 11 years. And it's frankly the place that we expect to be hauled out of someday. We look forward to viewing the next chapters of White Bluff and the story that goes along with it from the sidelines. Today is my last day as a member of this board. I couldn't be more excited about what this board and all of us as property owners have accomplished and what we have ahead of us. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you all. I'd like to now turn the microphone over to my favorite public speaker. He hates microphones, but he's actually really good at this, and we are thrilled to have him as our treasurer. Please. No, there's no motion to be made there. Thank you. Mike Ellis, please come and give us the treasurer's report.
Again, Jeff, thank you. Jeff and I joined the board at the same time, and I want to thank you for your many years.
Thank you, sir.
I can't follow that, so let's just say we're doing well, and I can sit down, okay? Our current bank balances, within our general accounts, our operating, which is our checking account, our main account, has just over $2 million. Our special assessment account now only has about $50,000, but there are projects ongoing that will zero that out. Within our T-SNAP account, which is golf and restaurant, we have $27,500. Hotel account, $53,000. And our TABC accounts, just over $4 million. Within operating, we have $2,185,146 as of Thursday. Within our reserves, our money market is currently at $727,157. Our two CD accounts account for $515,000. So just within our reserves, still untouched, and I'd like to keep it that way, $1.2 million. All in, we currently have $3.4 million cash on hand. So we are doing better now than we have done in many, many years. In looking at our budget, for April, we came out $218,000 to the good, compared to April of last year, which was a negative $12,500. Year to date, we are $520,000 ahead of budget. Compared to last year, we were only $55,000 ahead of budget. So in looking at just through April, we are $465,000 ahead of where we were last year, plus what we currently have in the bank. Now, having said that, at our last board meeting, we did authorize $500,000 to begin capital improvements, as Jeff mentioned, that are long overdue. So as I mentioned earlier, this is the first time in many, many years we will now have the financial wherewithal to start reinvesting back in our community. So I'm feeling very, very positive. So anyone have any questions on that, see me afterwards, okay? Thank you.
All right. Sorry, always forget. Next up, some guest speakers. Volunteer Fire Department report by Chief Hugh Corbin.
Good morning. If I sound a little funny today, I'm enjoying all the benefits of being allergic to cedar and living in a forest, so make do. Your fire department has 2 foam-capable fire engines, 3 brush trucks, a 3,000-gallon tanker, what we call an attack truck, which is kind of a combination brush truck and pumper at the scene of structure fires. And as you might have seen outside, a brand new rehab vehicle. One of my big concerns is the well-being of the volunteers at the scene of fires. Some of these last what seems like days. We've been out on fires for 3 or 4 days at a time. While we're there, the volunteers, who you may not have noticed this, are not all young chicks, tend to get overheated, need refreshments, and need to be taken care of. We have the capability of doing medical evaluations with that. We carry AEDs, oxygen, and medical supplies in there to take care of things. And it's a big improvement to what we had before, which was a van. We have the only boat that the fire department owns on Lake Whitney. It's equipped with side scan sonar, and currently is equipped with a 400-gallon-a-minute water pump we can use to extinguish fires on the lake or pump water to tankers on the shore. This also was a big improvement because in all the wisdom of building this place, no one thought to put in fire hydrants. So if your house catches on fire, we have to bring the water to you. And we do that with the trucks and the tanker. So, since last year, our fire department has been able to purchase several items to assist us in better serving our residents. First was a gas monitor. This is a device that samples air and tells you what it consists of. We've used this in several of the houses who thought they had leaks of propane, which some did, and we also use it at the scene of fires to make sure that cancer-causing vapors caused by the fire are not being breathed by the firefighters. The second was a medical oxygen refill station at the fire station. This allows us to refill the oxygen tanks that we carry on medical calls without having to go somewhere like Waco to have them refilled. And third, and this was probably our best deal, when Will's house caught on fire, we realized that we needed to have another source of firefighting. So we purchased 3 portable units, which when displayed in a confined area, creates a mist which will extinguish the fire without causing water damage to your house. We have that on 3 vehicles. We haven't used one yet, and I don't hope to use one anytime soon, but we do have them. Our fire department has been providing the rehabilitation for all of the county for several years using a van. So our addition of this ambulance, which came from the Plano Fire Department, and we've converted it over to use as our rehab unit, is a very welcome thing to all of the fire departments in Hill County, and we receive all sorts of praise for them. They take Gatorade and food, and like I said, they're equipped for medical emergencies at the scene. The department has made 384 calls for service since this time last year. These were for fires, emergency medicals, car wrecks, lightning strikes, which apparently this place sits on a hill or something because it just attracts lightning. There are 18 volunteer firefighters in the department right now. This includes 8 medical responders. These are people licensed by the state to perform medical services at the scene. When we arrive, we assess the scene and advise care flight who's en route, what's going on. If necessary, we will do whatever medical procedures are necessary, including the electrical shock, the administration of oxygen, CPR, or whatever. This year's project, as we always have something going on that we need, fire departments are kind of like that, is to purchase a second 3,000-gallon water tanker. As I said, there is no water supply here, so we have to bring the water to you. This would almost double the amount of water that we can bring to your house to fight your fire. A great improvement to our abilities. Fire departments are expensive to operate. Everything's expensive to buy if it says fire department on it to start with. While some of the repairs we can do ourselves by volunteers, a lot of them require to be done by registered mechanics that are licensed to do things in order to avoid any kind of civil liability. The fire department is always welcoming additional volunteers. You need no special skills other than the desire to help others and the willingness to learn. The pay's not really great. The hours pretty well suck, but there is a feeling of helping someone in what may be the worst time of their life. It's very rewarding if you're a part of this. This year, 2 of our firefighters attended Academy for Firefighters and are licensed by the state as state firefighter 2 individuals. This is an upgrade to what we have now, which is mostly volunteers. We've also had the addition of John Hoppe and his wife Stephanie, who is a member of the rehab, David Ginrich, Ethan Watson, Dean Mendez, who is a firefighter in Waco, and Dina Moran, who is a paramedic in Waco, and one of the people that volunteers to respond to medical calls. Today, several of the firefighters are in training for a vehicle fire involving an electric battery. These have turned out to be kind of nice on gasoline, not bad, except when they catch on fire. And other departments have reported that putting out an electric vehicle fire can take days. They tend to get put out and start up again over and over. We're trying to find a way to do this other than simply waiting for them to burn up. So I'm anxious to hear what they got found today in their training, so we'll see about that. I would like for the remainder of the people that belong to the fire department to stand up right now. These are your neighbors. These are the people that will come to your house when you have an emergency. We want to thank you all for your support in helping us maintain our status as the best fire department in Hill County, and as the resort grows, to be ready to respond to any emergency. Thank you very much.
Next up would be the Hill County Commissioner report, but I don't think I saw Danny Boddicker come in this morning, who usually delivers that for us. Okay, so we will skip on over to committee reports. Keith will actually cover the Greens Committee in his notes today, so we will start with Ned Wilmarth of the Marina Committee.
Hi, for those who haven't met me, I'm Ned Wilmarth. I've been on the Marina Committee since 2018. We have 5 people that are members of the committee, Terry Hatcher, Beth Crutcher, Bob Valenta, and Mike Miller. Mike Ellis is our POA board liaison, and he helps us get anything that we need to have approved. We usually get the quotations. Mike will help us get those approved and presented to the board if needed. Our task as a committee is to advise the board. We don't do enforcement down on the docks. We monitor the slips for issues. We have a member on each of the 3 major boat slips down there. We're constantly keeping an eye on things. We secure quotes on repairs, and we develop expansion plans. We do have an expansion plan for the marina for a new set of slips, and we have that ready for approval by the Corps of Engineers. We've not submitted that yet, correct, Mike? So we advise anything that needs to be corrected down there. We support the annual inspections by the Army Corps of Engineers. We did very well this year when we had our annual inspection. The maintenance crew fortunately had gone through and had all of the fire extinguishers brought up to date. Also replaced all the light bulbs down at the marina, all of them, so that we shouldn't have to deal with that issue for a while again. And took care of some of the annual maintenance type things that can trip us up in a Corps of Engineer inspection, which is simple stuff like boards that you can trip on, those types of things. And any violations that are down there, we were in pretty good shape with regard to violations that were that we saw down there. Stuff that was there was easily corrected. This year we had a pretty bad spring storm season, and not only were the winds high, but they were from the west, and the entrance to the marina is to the west. And so when we have 3 and 4 foot waves in the lake from the west, they come right into the marina as 3 foot waves, and they start shaking things up. So in spite of two bouts with 60 to 70 mile an hour winds, we had some damage, but it wasn't nearly as much as I had expected. The actual damage to the marina, I think we have quotes to repair and also upgrade a few things. It's around $30,000 total. Most of that is an upgrade to stainless steel cables to hold everything in place because the old ones are failing. And we have those quoted. Those are waiting for approval. The storms also damaged some boats. We had some boats that were not secured well enough. They got loose, and we had 2 boats that were seriously damaged. And we had a couple of boat lifts, fail and sink into the marina as well. So that was the result of the spring storm season. All in all, it wasn't too difficult to get out of that, although I'm sure people are still dealing with boat repairs. We have a total of 122 slips in the marina we lease. I think it's 109 of those. The rest are courtesy or day rental slips. There's a wait list for slips right now. It's down to around 37. At one point in time, it was over 100. In 2022, we had the number from over 100 down to 55. And as of yesterday, when I checked, it was down to 37 people waiting for new boat slips. So it has come down. There's a bunch of reasons for that. I'll discuss those with anybody offline who's interested in understanding why that is the case. As far as marina expansion goes, with 122 slips that we have in place, we do have a Corps of Engineers environmental permit for 190 slips. So we could build out to 190 slips without having to go back and redo that environmental permit. In round numbers, the financial sheets that were handed out, the marina is one of the few, I think maybe the only amenity that actually generates money. We basically generate approximately a third of our revenues actually are profit for the POA. So expanding the marina does have a capital cost, but it pays back quickly, and then it pays back forever after that. So, fuel on the dock. We get this question every year. When are we going to have fuel on the dock? If you've only been here a year or two, you're not missing it. But if you're here earlier, we did have fuel available on the dock 24/7. Just bring your credit card and fuel up. Things have changed since then, so we don't have fuel at the dock. The Corps of Engineers now requires an attendant to be present for anybody who's doing fueling, so that's an expense. So we did a survey last year, 2024, and we got a whole bunch of I'll call them the big users of fuel, to tell us how many gallons a year are you going to use. We did the math on this, and unfortunately the business case for gasoline is very upside down. Even at $6 a gallon, we cannot make money on gasoline. And if you reduce the price to $4 per gallon, you can't make money at that price either. It's kind of a lose-lose situation. So, and in addition to that, it's about $125,000 of capital to get new fuel dispensers, one at the marina market and then one down on the dock. So that capital has to be paid back as well. So the business case for this is not very good. If the demand is there and the board of directors feels like this is something they need to support, then this is an expense. It's not going to generate positive profit. So, but we have looked at it, and we've looked at it quite seriously, and just doesn't make sense at this time. Reminders, if you are, how many people here are boat owners, just out of curiosity? Oh, pretty good number, okay. So a couple reminders, it's a core requirement, keep the walkways clear. Also a core requirement, please no fuel storage at the docks, no loose tanks, no big tanks, no roll around tanks. If you have fuel on the dock, it needs to be in your boat. And also, very important, no drilling of holes into the structure. This is a major issue. Please don't don't do that. Be happy to answer questions for anybody that has them. I'm the guy with all the boats on his shirt. Catch me after the meeting. Any questions here? No? Okay, thanks very much.
Marketing Committee Chair Patrick Mattson.
While Patrick is coming up, I want to further introduce him. Patrick joined the marketing committee a year and a half ago, something like that. Took responsibility for it a year ago and has single-handedly and at really the expense of his firm completely reconfigured our website, has delivered a bunch of ideas he's going to talk about, but I wanted to personally thank you for all the work that you and your company does.
Thanks, sir. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, everyone. Well, it has been a long year for us, especially working on all the different pieces of the marketing for White Bluff. I would say that a year ago, walking into this, we had another marketing firm that was working with us, and unfortunately, they kind of failed at what they were doing as far as timely promises that were in their contract. It's funny, I was looking at some of my phone texts with Sue Ellen, and one of the last ones that we had, I won't say exactly what was said in that text, but our website went down on November 30th, and there was uh-oh, we'll just say that. And that was due to we were getting ready to switch over. Our contract ended with Go Plated on the 31st of December, and for some reason they decided to let it go early and didn't tell us, which put the panic button in, and we luckily Sue Ellen, who was on her leave during that time, answered my phone call at 9:45 p.m. and went and got things arranged so that our website went back up. So thank you, Sue Ellen, for doing that. But at the same time, we were able to meet our timeline. We decided that we would take over the 1st of January and build a new website. The thing with the old website, just to give you a little bit of history, I know most of you guys really don't care about the old stuff, and we'll talk about the new fun stuff, but the old stuff was that it was a template website. We have a lot of great committees and events and stuff like that that go on here at White Bluff that have not been on the website. And for that, I apologize, but there was no way for us to add more links to the old website based off of the system that they were using. It was a template system. It created a lot of problems actually creating a new link. And then we found out that Castle had access to the domains, and there were other players that were involved in all of those pieces to make the website work. Long story short, White Bluff now has its own server, its own website. It is a WordPress site. It is built and ready so that we can add multiple things, pretty much whatever we want on it. It is a professionally built site. We can integrate with many other softwares out there. So there are a lot of exciting things that we are planning to put into the website. And some of those things I'll speak about in just a minute. But I kind of want to go over some of the highlights and some of the key accomplishments that we had, after, just the website. Many of you guys have noticed that we added a new Facebook page for Mulligans. We added a new Facebook page for lodging. And in doing that, the idea was we know that there is a community Facebook page, which is great, but we also know that there are people that aren't in this community that are still looking to find out if lodging's available, if Mulligan's is open, what the new menu things are on there. So we felt that it was in the best interest of White Bluff to have separate Facebook pages for those people so that, like I said, if they're not part of our White Bluff community Facebook page, at least they have other means to see what we've done. In that, a lot of you guys have seen probably the new graphics and images inside of the Facebook page for Mulligan's. This is a part of a rebranding effort that we've been working on. The rebranding goes back to wanting to make sure that everyone knows that this is White Bluff, this is our community. And so when you look at the Facebook page or you look at lodging, it might say the end or the inn at White Bluff Resort, Mulligan's at White Bluff Resort. Again, it's all about branding. And so we're working on those things to really build up the name White Bluff. So go check out the Facebook pages if you haven't already. Go join them. We don't spam anyone inside of there. It's just really for information purposes only. And then that goes to, like I said, our efforts in branding. We know, and Jeff spoke about earlier today, kind of the history, which I would love to have a Netflix series on the history of White Bluff. I mean, that's a lot. I've only been here a year and a half, but I can only imagine what everyone's been through over the last 10, 15 years. But the idea is we know that there's a lot of stuff out there in the Google world that has some negative impact on our name with White Bluff. And so the idea behind there in the rebranding process is that we're keeping everything the same as far as logos and images and stuff like that. We're just making it more pronounced that we are White Bluff. And with that, I wanted to let you guys know that because of the Waukesha settlement that was done, we actually published a press release that's going to about 200 media outlets. Some of them will be Fox, some will be MSNBC, NBC, ABC, CBS. They'll be listed in all different types of affiliate network media outlets. And this is really to kind of suppress some of the old stuff. We want to get rid of the old media that's out there and put some positive things. So while we know some people will look at our community and say, wow, there was a lawsuit, at least there's a press release now that tells them that this is over, it's behind us, we've moved forward from that. And then what we'd like to do is start working with the community, with the different events and things that happen out here in White Bluff, especially with the golf community here. We would love to go out there and do co-press releases with them to start building our name out there on the internet to something that's a lot more positive. So that's happening in short order. Like I said, the first press release was just sent out this past couple days ago, and it'll probably be out there on the internet in the next 10 to 15 days, and we'll put something out there so that you guys will be able to see those releases. The last thing that I wanted to mention was a huge request. I know some people that do know me and on Facebook, they've sent me private messages asking me a lot of different questions and a lot of things that I don't have answers to because there are a lot of committees out here that have their own special events and do their own things. Well, I'm happy to announce that in the next 3 weeks, we're going to be launching a community calendar on the website to help us with being able to let everyone know what's going on in White Bluff. We've been testing it for a little bit. It's very close. The goal with that was to let people know what's going on the golf courses with different tournaments or things that are happening there. People are asking about pickleball and different events that happen in the pickleball courts. Some people want to know just about the cookouts and the barbecues and things that are happening out here. All of those things are great, and I know that they're put out there on Facebook, but wouldn't it be nice to have it on your own website where you could just go look on a calendar and see the events there. So I'm happy to announce that will be coming in short order. I want to thank Will for being our liaison for the marketing committee. He's been great and really helped us out. A lot of the different committees out there have also reached out, and I'm excited to be working with you guys in the future and kind of getting all of your stuff, whether it's on Facebook or whether it's on our website, or whether it's any other kind of media or PR that needs to happen. And another round of applause for this guy, Jeff. I mean, I cannot thank him enough for the amount of support that he's given us and for the name that we have today. I think we're all happy to hold our heads up high and be White Bluffers. So thank you, Jeff. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thanks, sir.
Up next, Architectural Control Committee Chair Bob Cruz.
Morning, neighbors. Hope everybody's doing well today. Let me just tell you first the charge of the Architectural Control Committee. we're specifically authorized to direct and administer and enforce all the provisions of the adopted building codes and ensure compliance with White Bluff Covenant's restrictions for any new construction. We all drive around, we all see a lot of things. Just please know that things have changed from years to years with the adoption of different codes as it relates back in some instances to the covenants and restrictions. I am serving as a chair. I have done so for about 5 or 6 months. Other property owners and volunteers who are working out here on this, Bobby Littlefield is our vice chair, Bill Bransom is a new appointee, Carol Criswell, Jim Duncan, Dottie Redding are all voting members. We have 2 non-voting members. Number 1, Brenda Purvis. I think everybody knows Brenda. Brenda is the one that catches all the flack at the office, and she is a sane or a filter, whatever term you want to use, for all the incoming phone calls that come in relative to construction and what they need to do. So Brenda is the primary point of contact for the ACC, as well as she serves as the ACC secretary. And Richard Gray, he is our White Bluff inspector. Sir Jerry Meyer is our board liaison, and he visits us pretty regularly to come make sure that we're taking care of business appropriately. It's been an interesting year. If I give you a status right now, we have currently 725 or so homes in White Bluff, 32 townhouses, so we have about 757 combined residences. During the last 12-month period, 19 new homes were approved, which it seems strange to me, but that's actually down from the prior year to where there were 24 homes approved during that time. We currently have 16 homes under construction. Also, a reduced number from 23 to 24. If you think about it, that makes sense, and especially when I add this next portion to it. At this time, we have 11 approved builders. An approved builder is an individual who has come before us and they have provided information to show that they have served as a general contractor and have built 5 homes within the last 5 years. They too have provided us a set of references so we can do due diligence and check on their background to make sure as end users they're going to take care of business. And lastly, they must have positive bank references. So just know that we ferret the individuals out. Now what's interesting to me is at this point in time, we have 11 approved builders. If somebody wants to come in and build, they have to go through that process before they're afforded the opportunity to do so. I will say we have 18 conditionally approved builders. The difference is we've had 18 different individuals and or companies come through, made application to the ACC and say we would like to be an approved builder. We did the background checks that we just referenced and everything checked out for them. However, the economy has maybe turned in the last 2 years. And at this point in time, no one on that 18 list has stepped forward to build any new homes. You know, not inclusive, and I know it's a little bit confusing, but one of the things that we do are some items that the ACC ensures prior to the issuance of a new home permit. Number one, we assure that the builder that's going to build the home is an approved builder. We assure the fact that the property owner owns the property. That sounds strange, I know, but we have run through instances to where it hasn't worked out that way and we have had to deny permits. We too ensure that the fees have been paid both by the builders and by the property owners. So once the property owner is, in fact, ready to start building, before we permit them, we make sure that there are no past dues out on their property. That too goes for builders. The builders have to be current on all of their dues. We obviously look for building code compliance to make sure what they're proposing matches and meets the building code. We also look at the White Bluff phase compliance. I live in phase 7. So the phase compliance for the specific area that I am in may vary a little bit different between each one of our phases. Specifically, in some instances, it could be relative to roof pitch. In some instances, it could be relative to masonry percentile that's on the house. So there is some difference, and we measure that back out. But we also look to assure the fact that the minimum square footage for the dwelling that's being proposed meets the requirements that's in our covenants and restrictions. Floodplains, we have some areas out here that are in a floodplain, and we too check against a master list that was done years ago. And lastly, well, not really lastly, but just let me add this before I bore you with anything else. We assure that the subs that are working on the houses have their certifications and are licensed in their respective field. You know, in closing, just real quick, I'm going to tell you, it's not always popular enforcing codes and ordinances. The general public gets mad, and we understand that. Brenda catches grief a lot of times at the office. That's okay, we can deal with that. But I do want you to just think about the difference of areas where codes and covenants are provided versus areas they're not. Part of the beauty of what we have here is because of the forefathers, if you will, this area, adopted covenants and restrictions. We've updated our building codes. Now, folks, I tell you, if we drive outside the gates and we spend any time driving around, I think we're going to see a differentiation that in the long run is well worth the hassle that you go through to get a permit. At least I want to think that way. Beyond simple aesthetics, though, running through and utilizing codes and covenants not only enhances our property values, but more importantly, it enhances our life safety. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to catch me after the meeting. Thank you.
It's my turn. All right. As always, thank you all for being here today and your continued support. Your patience through the challenges and successes of the last year, really make White Bluff what it is. I also want to extend a big thank you to the Board of Directors. Your leadership and willingness to make hard decisions in the best interest of this community are really what guide our path forward. To my department heads and staff, thank you. The work you do every single day is what keeps this place running. And I say this every year, but White Bluff really, it's just not a place where I work. I love coming to work, and I consider it a privilege to serve this community, so thank you all. One more special thanks. I was out for a few months at the beginning of the year. If not all of you know, I had a baby on January 8th. He's now 4 months. So I was out for a few months, and so I just want to give a big thank you to Keith. Obviously, I knew he would step up and we would have no problems, but his leadership and support during that time were invaluable, and you did an outstanding job. Thank you so much. So I will start, and some of the things, I hope I'm not too repetitive. Jeff and Mike kind of stole a little bit of my thunder and things that I was going to discuss, so I'll be quick. But starting with end-of-year consolidated financials, so this is for everything: POA, marina, food and beverage, golf maintenance, POA maintenance, all of the entities. In 2024, we budgeted for revenues of $8.95 million. We came in at $8.8 million. Expenses, $8.6 million to a budget of $8.3. Our net income at the end of 2024 was $238,000 to a budget of $596,000. So obviously, we came in slightly under revenues in 2024 and a little over in expenses. But as you know, Jeff touched on earlier, the majority of that variance was related to Walkinshaw legal fees, which are behind you all now. I'm so happy for you. So if we excluded those costs, we well exceeded our expectations by over $1 million in 2024. But unfortunately, they were there. So moving on to financials through April of this year. Budgeted revenues of $2.88 million. We are just shy with 2.84. Happy to say, though, that we budgeted for expenses of $3 million, and we've come in at about $2.5 million, so already a $500,000 savings there. Currently sitting at a net income of $375,000. We had budgeted to be at a loss of about $145,000 by this point. So again, as Mike touched, we were about $520,000 ahead of where we said we would be in April. So I couldn't be more happy. A lot of, just a huge thanks again to Keith and the department heads for really watching our expenses. The majority of those savings are associated with administrative expenses, which includes savings in legal fees, collections fees, and office supplies. Payroll costs have been down. Of course, I wasn't here. We've also, we're without a POA maintenance manager for a while, so that saved us some there. And also, we had some major savings in utilities. You'll hear from some of our department heads today just about their teams and their accomplishments over the last year. I'm going to go ahead and touch on some major projects that we completed since we all last met and what we have coming up. So since we last met, obviously the covered bridge replacement took place. Big thanks to Yoder Construction, to Rick Cepeda, Rick Ashton, Keith, and Brad Farley for the oversight on that project. Also, thank you to all of you. I know going down 11:45 must have been rough. I secretly planned that to happen while I was gone, so I did not have to answer to that. No, but I know that was tough, so thank you all for your patience there. Mobile key implementation. So as of now, all of our lodging units, so the inn, the condos, and the cabins, all feature mobile keys. This is a game changer for our lodging operations. Ultimately, it's going to help with payroll and supply costs and just enhance efficiency. If you can imagine, it's Friday at 7:30 p.m. We have 10 guys come off the golf course, and there's no one at admin to give them their hotel keys. So now I've got KO and Kat at security and Bill Louthan from the golf shop are all running around trying to assist getting these people access to rooms and locating their keys. It's a mess. So with the mobile key, there's no more leaving keys at security or pro shops for them to pick up. It's on their phone before they even get here. So it is a huge win for us. The same system will be used as your access to the pools, the fitness center, spa, and salon. So I'll touch on that a little bit here shortly. We had some major renovations to the rustic cabins and the spa. We installed carpet and did some other updates to both of those. Of course, we replaced the entry fence, installed handrails at the Cascade Pool for increased safety. Emergency evacuation planning, we've created a new plan, map, and the signage has been installed. As Ned touched on, we had some pretty bad storms last spring too, so we had some repairs to electrical and anchoring at the docks there at the marina. We also installed 5 additional parking spaces there at the marina as well. We had gutter installation on all amenity buildings. We replaced an HVAC unit at the Lighthouse Restaurant, enabling us to use that space for more events. We just completed the Mulligan's sound dampening project. I don't know if you guys have been in, well, you probably all went in there to sign in this morning. I don't know if you noticed, but all the cork is on the walls, and we think it's doing a pretty good job of helping with the sound in there. I think it personally provides a really nice aesthetic. And we also just renewed the marina lease successfully with the Corps for another 5 years, so that will not expire until 2030, so that's a huge, huge deal for us. Upcoming projects, we will continue fire mitigation and emergency exit maintenance. That includes additional mowing and brush clearing throughout the property. Thank you to a lot of you have also started to clear lots. Thank you so much for your assistance in that. If you need additional access to the burn pit hours to dump any of the stuff that you're clearing, please reach out so we can get you in there if you need access outside of normal operating hours. We are in the process of painting the covered bridge. If you've seen the bridge in the last week or you drove in this morning, the posts that hold up the canopy there are looking a little rough. It is on purpose. They sanded this week. We will be power washing and painting starting next week. We do intend for that entire project to be wrapped up no later than May 31st. We also have some big repairs coming to the rustic pool and pool house, major repairs to the pool itself and the decking, and then a pretty good remodel will take place in the bathhouse. Vendor selection is underway. We hope to have that wrapped up pretty quick. The project itself will probably take a couple of weeks. So we will reroute aerobics classes and other things probably to the ash pool. We will keep you posted via email blasts. Pool access transition to the mobile keys. So like I said, you all will actually use a mobile key that is on your phone for the pools. I'm hoping it's in the next 30 days. I'm kind of, at the mercy of the vendor right now. We're waiting on a couple of parts. But it's a really neat capability. You can't share the key, so that makes it nice, right? That's one of the that's part of why we're trying to do this, to make sure anybody that's there is supposed to be there. And on that topic, last week or the week prior, I just want to address an oops. We sent out an email that a lot of you got saying that you have a year-long reservation at the hotel. That is not the case, but it is inside of the same system. So we were trying to get ahead of that by uploading all of our property owners into that system, not realizing you all were going to get that reservation. So I do apologize. You can ignore that. In the next few weeks, we will send out directions on how to download the app, how to get your key. If you have more than one person living in your household, how you're going to get their keys. If you've got grandkids coming, what the process is, things like that. So stay tuned for that. Last, I say this every year, but I just want to emphasize the importance of communication, not only from my standpoint, but it helps me so much when you guys are communicating with me as well. We do our best to keep everybody informed about board meetings and road work and, community events and all of those things. We do a lot of that via email blast. So if you aren't receiving those, and I know quite a few of you here are not, please contact me. We will absolutely get it fixed for you. And also, if you're experiencing any other issues, billing issues, courtesy notices, questions about amenities, anything, my door is always open. Please don't hesitate to stop by the office, call me, email me. I am available. Last, before we dive into department head reports, I'm excited to introduce someone that is new to our team. He has only been here for about 72 hours on our team, so I'm not going to make him stand up here, but I would like him to stand and wave. I'd like to introduce David Ross Lyons, our new Director of POA Maintenance and Roads. David comes to us with an extensive background in operations and facility management, town management, so we are just thrilled to have him leading our POA maintenance and roads crews. With that, we will start with department head reports. Up first, everybody's favorite, Keith Harris.
Good morning. Time flies when you're having fun. This is year 3. I can't believe that I'm already 3 years here at White Bluff, but let's hit a few things from 2024, talk a little bit about 2025, and get Jeff out of here as quick as we can. I would like to thank all of the board, their support, the people in this community. Julie and I moved here 3 years ago, and I have to say it's a really special place. We really enjoy being here, made a lot of great friends. Try to get involved as much as possible, and it's just really, honestly, a fantastic place to live and to work. Thank you to Sue Ellen. Thank you for having a child during the winter. Because if it was now, it would not be good. Anyway, I really enjoy working with her. She is, for those of you that don't know her, she is tireless. She just goes and goes, and she deeply cares about this place, and it shows every day. Couldn't think of anyone else better to lead this group, and thanks for putting up with all of my stuff. All right, 2024 started off, we were hoping to gain on the traction we made in 2023, where we had Jeff's softball budget of an increase of 27% revenue, which we hit and exceeded. 2024 started off with a lot of rain for us and really put us behind the 8 ball. We were trying to get to a 9% increase. We ended up pretty much having washouts in April and May that got us to around a 2% increase. The only real positive and high point of that, we were able to manage our expenditures, and we actually saw that we came in 22% under budget. So even though it wasn't the year we wanted revenue-wise, it was definitely for us a win where we actually closed that gap a little bit more and trying to get golf to live on its own 2 feet. In 2025, we are trying to get to that 9%, and early indications are it's been exceptionally. The weather's been great, but we are seeing an exceptional increase. Matter of fact, in April, Tanya, our Director of Finance, let us know that in the time that she has records, April was the largest revenue month in golf for the records that we have. So we did 33% over what we projected in April, and that came in at just under $187,000 in revenue in a month. That was really good. You know, we really honestly have come a long way since 2022. Looking at those financials the last couple of days and realizing that in 2022, golf operations did $1.1 million in revenue. And in 2025, we're projecting a $1.6 million. That's a 30% increase in 3 years of what we are thinking we can drive here. That, of course, is because of our team, this community, and y'all giving us the ability to have such a great place to sell and to have people come to and enjoy. As a lot of you that play golf and also out here on the lawn, you see some new golf carts. Our 4.5-year partnership with Yamaha came to a close. That group of carts, that lease group that we had, was moved out of here in April. We replaced those with 140 brand new club cars. For those of you that don't know the hierarchy in carts, there's 3 main players. You have club car, Easy Go, Yamaha, in that order of where they fall in the hierarchy. And with White Bluff bringing in Club Car, it opens up the doors for us on a lot of the events that some of the, like the Northern Texas PGA partners with them. It opens the door for us to have kind of a little bit more of a feather in our cap when it comes to selling White Bluff with the name on the cart. You know, you kind of think of it as a Escalade instead of a Suburban. No knock on Suburban, but it's not an Escalade. Those actually have full-blown GPS on those as well. So the screens are up on there. People can see the layout of the holes. They can get real-time yardage. They'll be able to order food when they come around to number 8. That'll go straight into the restaurants. We had this at Cross Timbers when I was there. We saw a huge increase in the amount of sales that were going through food and beverage based on being able to order. Nothing like being out there for 2 hours and you look up and see a really juicy cheeseburger on the screen. It's like, order now. So, you know, those are all things that will drive more revenue here. Also, we'll be able to sell advertisement. We have 36 spots, 1 on each tee box. So if you're a realtor and things like that, as we figure out what right looks like, you'll be able to advertise anyone. You know, you roll up to the tee box and your ad pops up. 40,000 people are going to see that ad each year, hopefully more as time goes on. So these are all great assets to White Bluff, things that will potentially drive more revenue. Like with everything else, everything that we touch, eat, feel has gone up in price. We definitely are seeing an increase in price. We've had a little bit of an increase in cart fees across the board, and we will continue to try to pay for those as best as possible. I would also like to introduce Terry Shiflett. Terry, where you at, buddy? In the back. For those of you that do not know Terry, for the last 9 months, he has been here as our Director of Agronomy. He came in, was it August, I guess, close to that of last year. He comes from Texas Rangers Club. For those of you that don't know that facility, they host a Corn Ferry event every year and have for the last 5 or 6 years. So he has what real golf course looks like. And unfortunately for Terry, he kind of inherited some golf courses that maybe turf-wise weren't managed the way that they should have been. They were much too dependent upon chemicals and fertilizers to survive. He ran an ISTRIC test right when he got here to check his soil profile, realized real fast that we have some problems coming or had some problems coming. He's hit those head on. Unfortunately for him, we just haven't had that growing season yet. We're in it now. You know, this grass needs heat. We're finally getting it. Really excited to see what he turns out in the next 18 months to 2 years. I think we're going to get back to seeing golf courses that are exceptional. But thank you to your work and all your staff. I know it's some long hours and a lot of property cover, and you guys have knocked it out of the park, and thank you so much for being so great to work with. I would also like to recognize our Greens Committee. Ed Helmbeck is not here, and I'm sorry y'all didn't get to hear Ed talk. Bummer. But I would like to thank their support. We meet once a month. That committee is Ed Helmbeck as the chair. You have Robert and Ellie Woods, Rosemary Patterson, who is the LGA liaison. We have Matt Martin and our board liaison, Jerry Mayer. They head that group. A lot of great discussion goes on in those. You know, they're giving us from that player's perspective of what they see on the golf course that needs to be changed. We talk about a lot of things that, you know, over time will become, you know, capital expenditures that we would like to see to improve the condition of the course, the playability of the course, and we just appreciate their work. Sometimes Ed's a handful. We have to kind of keep him under control, but Jerry does a pretty good job of that, and we appreciate that group. I'd also like to recognize the volunteers that we have. One of our board members, Mike Moot, and also Martin Coons, and I know I see a lot of faces in this group, Mark Hamner, a lot of the board members, Will Sasser, and all the folks that volunteer. So when we run these big events, we're kind of have a bit of a constraint with where the driving range is at. So these folks volunteer to load golf bags, to shuttle kids back and forth to the driving range, to be spotters out there, anything that we need. Mike does a great job, and that whole entire group. I mean, it's an amazing thing when people come to you and they're just like, no other club does that. You know, we don't go to other clubs that shuttle the kids. We don't go to other clubs that load golf bags. I mean, that says a lot for how much pride this group takes in this property and how much they want to succeed. And those things are just invaluable, and we appreciate it, every bit of it. What we're seeing with most of our events coming in, we're getting a lot of the same people, which is great. We've got a great partnership with the Texas Golf Association. They ran 4 events with us last year. We've got 3 this year. They've already signed up for a couple next year. That partnership is really good, and that would be because of, number one, the product we turn out, the facility that we have, the volunteers that we have, and just us trying to make them feel like they're at home when they're here. And we got a lot of positive feedback, and they are coming back. The Northern Texas PGA has reached out to me. Actually, Jeff was in the office when I was on the phone with the CEO of the Northern Texas PGA. They signed up again to run the 7th major, I guess, of the year, which is the Match Play Championship out here again. That's always a good thing. And like I stated earlier, with Club Car in the mix, that opens us up to the PPC and some other tournaments that you don't get unless you're rocking club cars. For those of you that are watching the PGA Championship, the first step for those 20 golf professionals that are getting to play with the tour guys starts at the PPC. So good chance that if we host that event in the near future, which I think we will, it'll be guys that will represent the Northern Texas PGA playing against the best players in the world. And it'll start here. So those are cool. We also have a lot of other tournaments. Whitney Booster Club will be here in a couple of weeks. We just had a Baylor alumni tournament. We're in communications with the Whitney Chamber of Commerce. We're still trying to drive those tournaments on our historical close days. We always have the new course closed Monday, Tuesday. Pretty easy to sell those events on those days when the courses are closed and just kind of double dip that revenue, and those are always good. That's pretty much all I have on golf. I will touch on lodging. Not sure if Billy Fields is still here. Billy Fields. And I'm sure everybody here knows Billy. She was the receptionist here for a very long time, and she has taken over that point person as our lodging director. Billy goes extremely hard. She does a great job trying to sell this place. We appreciate her work every single day. Of course, in 2024, we were impacted by bad weather because most of the groups that got rained out April and May had booked lodging here, so it really put us behind. There was also a bit of an oversight by Sue Ellen and myself on our 2024 budget. We kind of double put in the condos maybe, and it made it look like, after a couple of months, we're like, we obviously put a number on the board that is not obtainable right now. And it wasn't, but we will get there. At the end of the day, the net income for 2024 in lodging was $168,000, so it was profitable. We're going to continue to do everything we can to drive those numbers up. We've had some great time with Mark Hamner. He's volunteered his time to give us some ideas. We appreciate all of that, but it's been a good thing to kind of watch that business grow, and it's only going to get better. We were continuing to try to find ways to reach those groups. As a lot of you know, we visited the DFW. We got a booth at the DFW Golf Expo in Plano a few months back. We had more than 600 people fill out a card for a stay and play that we raffled off. Those are all real people with phone numbers and email addresses and addresses that we can market to. Of that 600, we had 9 that actually handed us a card and said, we run a big group or a big tournament. We would love more information. We've reached out to all 9 of those. We actually had a couple of site visits with that, and it looks like we've got one on the hook that will more than pay for that entire excursion for the weekend. The plan is to keep doing more of those. The more exposure we can get here, the better. So we're just trying to do everything that we can to get more and more out here. So far in 2025, the numbers look good. Looks like we should hit our projection, which is great. And you know, this place, it just offers a great venue and atmosphere to have these groups and people come in. And we always get rave reviews and people want to rebook. And that moniker of being the best kept secret, it's a great thing and a curse. We really don't want to be a secret that's hidden. We really honestly would just like to change that to the golf destination in the state of Texas. Sue Ellen, can I have you for a second? Come on up here. I've got to do one thing before I escape, but I need Sue up here for it. So Sue and I were trying to figure out what we were going to do for all of Jeff Williams' guidance and leadership that he's given us. So we've got something for you, Jeff. Come on, Sue. This little gift certificate to Mr. Williams. It is for being a great president and mentor for Sue and Keith, but mostly to Sue. And for talking Keith off the ledge at least once a week. And this is good for one slightly used and only thrown once tailor-made driver that he's had in his bag for a few months now. There are a couple of things down here in the fine print. There are no refunds on this driver, okay? There is no guarantee that it will perform as advertised. And it will not turn you into Scotty Scheffler.
Well, thank you. I've been trying to pay for it for 3 months.
Well, there was a reason. There was a reason. We do hope you enjoy your retirement from this deal, and thanks for all you do.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you all so very much. That was what I needed you here for. Just give away that driver.
For sure. Next up, department head reports. Our second newest department head and our director of food and beverage, Sean Knox.
Hello. Sean Knox, Director of Food and Beverage. Really excited to be part of this community. My wife and I have owned property here for just over 4 years. We were retired from the restaurant business, ran restaurants for about 25 years in Montana. I am a Texan, I'll always be a Texan, but I spent 30 years of my life up north until I just couldn't handle shoveling snow anymore. So we wanted to come back here, just kind of stumbled upon this place. Bought a little ranch next door, and the realtor's like, you golf at all? And I said, yeah, I do. Well, there's 2 beautiful golf courses right behind you. You want to buy a lot? And I said, yeah, I do. And so we've enjoyed just being members, being patrons. And this gentleman here, I ran into him at the gym about 5 months ago. And he heard me and Tom speaking about food and beverage because, you know, it's fun to talk about things when you're looking from the outside in. And Jerry's like, hey, well, we got a committee, and if you're interested, why don't you jump in? And I said, okay. The name of my company, or our company in Montana was Big Mouth Barbecue, because I got a big mouth. And I always open it, and it gets me into situations. And that's exactly what I did here. And so I was on the committee and kind of steering to try to stop some of the bleeding that we were having. And the next thing you know, Carrie decided to resign. And I said, you know, I'm kind of getting bored of retirement. This sounds like a lot of fun. Why don't I throw my hat in the ring and see what happens? And the next thing you know, Keith and Sue Ellen are like, are you sure? Yeah, okay. So here I am. Last year was pretty tough in food and beverage here. Pretty substantial losses. But I'm trying to turn that around. And there's some low-hanging fruit that's really easy to fix. Trying to control food costs, trying to control labor. The labor market's tough here based on our geography. Since COVID, man, it's hard to find people that want to work. You know, it really is. But we've got some new crew, and I'm really excited. We've got 3 new hires in the kitchen. We were down to literally 6 people, and that includes Julie at the 19th hole when I got here. One of our cooks resigned about a month after, which left us 4 people running Mulligan's. It's been tough. Y'all have seen me here a lot, and my face is usually red, and I'm usually running from one point to the other. It's because not only do I like it, but I have to be. There's a lot of responsibility. I do love food and beverage, and ultimately my goal is to not only make this a golf resort, but a destination for food. We're in the heart of Texas. We don't have any barbecue. Well, that's fixing to change. Friday night, Jeff's going to be playing out here on the patio from 6 to 8 with Gary Harkins, and we're going to do some barbecue on the side patio. We're going to do it market style. I'm going to do some brisket. We're going to do some chicken. We're going to do some sausage, and we'd love to see all of y'all come in. We're basically doing it. We're going to do it at cost. I believe it's $14 a plate. But go to a barbecue joint these days and get away with $14. It's going to be great. I'm super excited about it. That's what I love to do. My heart starts pittering and pattering as soon as I build a fire and get some meat cooking on it. So looking forward to that. We do have, Jerry, I love the interior. I think that cork looks awesome. I think it has mitigated some of the sound. I know it's a loud room, but we got tall ceilings, and none of us were involved in building that building the way it is. So we're doing the best we can with it. What's kind of nice about it being loud, it means there's a lot of people in there, and that's what I like to see. We did have the largest April that we've had in 4 years this last April in revenue. And so that's the first month that I was full on. I'm not taking credit for all that. Keith was bringing in tournament after tournament after tournament, and I'm working 80 hours a week. But we got some good numbers out of it. Thank these guys. Sue Ellen and Keith have been so supportive. And talk about talking people off a ledge. Almost weekly as well. It's just tough. I thought, I'm going to come in and have some fun and shake some hands and make some drinks, and I'm in the dish pit, or I'm hauling beer back and forth, and it's okay. We're going to get there. I think we are going to make this a destination for great food in the future. I appreciate all of y'all's support. I see a lot of your faces in there all the time. We're going to try to do some wine events this fall with Galen and all the ladies, and there's just other things that we're going to try to elevate the experience for everyone here. And I'm really happy to be a part of it. I feel proud to be part of this community and to be serving y'all on a regular basis. So thank you so much.
Up next, we have Rick Ashton, our roads crew supervisor.
Well, I get talked off the ledge daily. Anyway, I hear everybody talking about how long they've been out here. But quick story, my wife and I, back there, we bought our first lot, I think, back here in 1995. And that was before they even had the roads finished out here around the new course. They were working on the new course back then, so it's been a long time. We built our house in 2000, I believe, 1999, 2000. So we've been here a long time. So we've seen the glory days and the bad days and the days as they get better. Anyway, as far as roads go, I guess y'all seen the new bridge. We've done a lot of work this past year. there's still more to go. We've got Stonewood we're going to start working on. It goes all the way back into that cul-de-sac back in there. We're going to try and get that road done this year. We'll finish up the rest of White Bluff Drive finally, and definitely finish up Gulf Drive. And we'll see where we can go from there. Just, you know, these guys bring in a lot of revenue, but I can burn it up pretty fast. So we just keep going, keep plugging away. I know there's a lot of potholes, and I know the roads are falling apart. You know, we were out here just yesterday, or 2 days ago, we were out there sealing that road out there, and even our truck, you know, trying to stay off those edges and everything, we bust them up. They just come apart so fast and so easy, but we're trying to fix them. We'll keep them going as best we can, so I appreciate y'all. We've been here, I guess I've been here about 4 years. I don't even know anymore, but it's been a road. Money's starting to come in now. So we'll be able to keep rolling. So, but anyway, that's all really I have. So thank you very much.
I want to say something. You know, Rick, you catch a lot of flack for, you know, say, well, this doesn't look anything like the road in Fort Worth. Well, we've now paved what, 30-ish miles, something like that, somewhere between 25 and 30 miles of road. Is it perfect? No. Could we afford it? Yes. Could we afford to hire a contractor to come in and do what Rick's crew has done? No. Could we hire a contractor to come in and pave all of the roads in White Bluff with asphalt? Sure. Just tell me where the $30 million comes from, because that's what it costs. So, Rick, you do take probably as much flack as anybody out here, and thank you for your work.
Last department head report, Brad Farley, Chief of Security.
Hey guys, how you doing? Real quick, before I started, I wanted to let you guys know there's a face here that's here with me today that is here, and you guys see her every day that you come in and out of this gate and running around, and that's Kat McGinnis, and that's my assistant chief. I want to recognize her for the job that she does for this community and the smiling face that she does and gives to everybody that comes through that gate every day without fail, and I appreciate her 100%. So, let's talk about a few things that we do in security. And one of our biggest accomplishment was we made it through the covered bridge scenario and got everybody pretty much unscathed except for a whole bunch of dirty cars, and but we survived. We're good. Our security team is great. We've got a good, solid team going right now. We have been really working through and taking care of you guys with watch orders and making our rounds to the different parts of the community and keeping an eye on them and try to make this place a good, safe place. And I'm sure I'll hear some about the stop sign, but it was me. I'm the one that asked for it. I wanted to, and the biggest thing, one of the biggest struggles that we have out here is voluntary compliance with speeding. And if everybody voluntarily abided by the speed limit, we wouldn't have to have those kind of scenarios and everything in order to facilitate making that happen. So I ask for your cooperation to be mindful of the speed. You can see the amount of deer. Every day, we're always, as part of the security committee and team, picking up dead animals off the road, scraping off squirrels, deer, armadillos, skunks, you name it. It happens on a daily basis. And not saying that it's 100% preventable, but the speeding obviously does take a little bit of contribution to it. And I'd ask for you guys to help me out with that, especially with the amount of traffic that we have picked up over the last year that we have been seeing come up and down the roads. With that being said, we'll talk revenue. We do generate a little bit of revenue in the security department, and last year we made $17,511. Yay! The majority of that toll tax was $5,895. We started doing selling contractor passes. That way we can kind of regulate who's coming in and out. And we've got a database of those individuals that have purchased those contractor passes, and that generated over $4,000 worth of revenue. We also are the ones responsible for selling the boat launches down at the marina, and we made $1,120 on that. And then the rental of the slips during the year when people want to come and rent them for a day use or whatnot, and that was just a little bit over $6,400. So we do make at least a little bit to help contribute to it, just while we're running up and burning up the gas going up and down the roads. I break down our two aspects of our security department. One is patrol, the other is the gate. Statistics, just to give you an idea, on patrol, we traveled and logged 87,877 miles within the community this past year. The watch orders that we perform on your homes while you're gone on vacation, we performed 3,134 watch orders. And pool checks, last year we really stepped it up to try to kind of see if we can't get a hand of grips on the amount of folks that are coming in and utilizing the facilities that shouldn't be there. And we did 12,240 pool checks over the course of the summer last year. While we're at the our gate part of it, we registered in 55,234 guests into the main lane that comes through there. The vehicles registered were 47,608, and that would be other than guests like your concrete trucks or like Amazon and that kind of stuff. And then your regular contractors was 19,206. And so that gives a total of 122,000 people that we registered just through the one single lane right there at the gate. And you figure with the guests being registered, the vast majority of the people that let us know that they have guests registered are making phone calls. So Kat not only gets to register 55,000 people, she also answers about 55,000 phone calls every year as well. Makes her one busy woman. But we appreciate the community. We hope that when you see us out there, you wave hi at us. We try to make sure that we're waving at you and see a smiling face. And if you have concerns or a safety issue and it's something that we can help you out with, be more than happy to do what we can for you as well as we can for you. And we appreciate the community and we appreciate your time. Thank you.
All right, so I know we gave you a gift certificate, but it would be remiss of me not to extend just my profound appreciation for you, Mr. Williams. Jeff's guidance, vision, and unwavering commitment to this community have made a lasting impact. He has been a steady hand and a thoughtful voice through times of both progress and challenge, and as Keith stated, has talked both of us off a ledge more times than I would like to admit. His presence on this board will be deeply missed. You leave behind a legacy of service that will continue to benefit this community for years to come, and we wish you all the best. Thank you. Thanks again to department heads and each of you for being here. Let's just continue working together, and as always, please reach out if you need anything. Up next is Teal Lang with an update on Walkinshaw.
Well, the update has already been given by many people, and that's because it's really great news. But my background is a lawyer, and what I'm going to say is going to be really short, and very concise, and I know y'all are going to be shocked that I can do that. But as you've been told, this litigation's been going on for 15 years. And I was not around at that time, but I was, the numbers, and it was against Double Diamond in the POA, and the Double Diamond was the one everyone was after, and numbers like 10 to 16 million in damages, you know, were out there, and you're like, whoa, that's a lot of money. And somewhere over the course of that litigation, the target switched from Double Diamond to the POA. I wasn't here at that time either, but that's what I'm told. And so what happens is those numbers are like, whoa, so who has to pay the 10 to 16 million? We're like, oh, the POA? Oh, wait, that's us. So it became more real. And then the judge in Dallas issued a couple of orders that our lawyers were shocked about, like making it look even more like, whoops, that target is really on our backs. And so I became more intimately involved in the facts about a couple of years ago. And, you know, the judge was very scary to us on what might happen. And so the fact that this litigation could be settled for the dollars that it was settled for is amazing. And I smile every time I think about it, even though I wasn't there for 15 years. And so many other people worried about this before me. And I know Joe Manders wanted so bad to be able to say, while Joe was in my spot, to say, it's done. We got... And I'm just saying, Joe, I'm your proxy. It's done. We should all smile every day and be thankful that it's done, especially for the price that we paid for that. So that's it.
Up next, we'll have Sam Timothy to report on the 2023 and 2024 audits.
Okay. I'm happy to report that the 2024 audit is now final. It was finaled yesterday, so record time. I've been coming down here.
You're ahead of time.
I know. I've been coming down here, I guess, 24. I've been coming down here probably 10 years and never had a current year audit to talk about. So 2023 was done, and you got an unqualified opinion, but I'm going to talk about 2024. So it's very exciting to be able to talk about a current year audit. So a couple of things, just when we do an audit, and Timothy DeVolt, POAs, HOAs, condominium associations, that's what we do 365 days a year, so in this space. But I tell boards, clients, prospective clients, our audits are kind of broken into three areas. One, first and foremost, proof of cash. If we can prove out cash to materiality, we're on our way to being able to give an opinion. If we can't, our opinion won't be unqualified or clean, as maybe commonly heard. Second, proof of expense. We say, you may not like how it was spent, but we'll tell you how it was spent. We're not saying it was spent wisely, unwisely, but that's how you spent the money. Now, I'm not saying in your case it was spent badly. I'm just telling you that's what we do in an audit. We verify that the expenses are legitimate expenses that were incurred for whatever the purpose were that they were. Y'all decide if it's spent well or not. And thirdly, proper GAAP financial presentation. Y'all see monthly financials or whatever is done by your association. A lot of times those are more operational statements, but we as auditors have to make sure that we present and that you present formal GAAP compliant financial statements. So really the three items: proof of cash, proof of expense, and proper GAAP financial presentation is in essence what our audit does. In that process, if there's any issues that come up, well, obviously those get addressed in our audit as far as if there's anything with the numbers. Number two, while we do not do an internal control audit, we do look at internal controls, see that you have what would appear to be proper controls there, and if there's issues, that would show up in a management letter, et cetera. So that's the basis of what we do. Now I'll tell you a little bit about how it looked for 2024, and you guys will, I think, post this as you do for your members, and ever how that's done, probably in some sort of posting on your website, et cetera. So if I can not put you to sleep in 5 minutes, I'll be doing well. Okay, so your current assets for the year 2024, you had $3.141 million of assets. I've already talked about. You had cash on hand where you're at now. You had $2,139,000 in cash. You had $509,000 in some CDs. So basically $2.6 million at the end of the year on again accrual audited basis. That was your cash and cash investments position. You had the rest of your current assets in inventories and $100,000 in receivables, et cetera. That was while you had $6 million in receivables, $5.9 million of that as we had an allowance set up, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But so the $3.1 million worth of current assets. You had property, plant, and equipment of about $4.5 million. You have what in the form of right-to-use assets, which are leases of about $1 million, bringing your total assets down up to about $8.7 million. Remember, I said you had 3.1 in current assets. Current liabilities was 1.489 million, but call it 1.5 million. Great ratio of 3.1 in current assets to current liabilities. A 2-to-1 ratio means you're very healthy from a financial positioning point of view. So good news there. You do have $857,000 of notes and leases payable. So bringing your fund balance to $6.3 million. Again, quite a transformation from where you were the first time I came down here. So anyway, looking at your revenues, and again, there's a lot of numbers, but I'm going to try and do the summarization of what I see as most important if I were in your shoes as a member. From a GAAP accounting, you had $10.9 million worth of revenue. I will say you collected about $9.9 million in cash, so there's about $1 million difference there. And as I said, there was right at $6 million of allowance. One of your challenges is your receivables and collecting, and creative ways y'all can find ways to turn maybe some of those that aren't collected into collecting. Obviously, that's a challenge that you guys, I would say, is the edict. As an independent guy, doesn't care about, I mean, I care about all of it, but I don't have a vested interest. That's one of your biggest challenges and opportunities, is collect what you're due. So, but 900 or million is kind of the delta there between what you have on a GAAP accounting versus collected in deposits made into your accounts. Now, we've got all that accounted for, but that's just the delta between those two. I will say on your expenses, you spent $2.9 million on on-site staffing. That covers obviously all these people that talk, plus a lot more to make your experience what you have. Your second biggest expense may be a surprise to you, but it's back to the other topic I talked about, $1.6 million worth of bad debt allowance. So your second biggest expense is your issue in collecting. So again, that's y'all's challenge and opportunity. Third largest was the legal and professional. I think about out of the almost 1.3 million, I think a good million of that is tied to the celebration you have, that you now can put that lawsuit behind you. So that's going to really be of help to you on your P&L going forward. You did have revenues. I will just point out one other thing. Your hotel operation did generate income, which I believe was spoken of. That's great, but that also becomes taxable. You're not a complete tax-exempt entity, so that profit did result in income tax of, I think it was 20, I think 29,000. So a lot of your operations, you get some favorable tax treatment. That's one you do not, and so you did have tax liability, tax expense there. So that's really the big things I would point out on your income statement. You had excess expenses of $981,000. Now, don't let that scare you, because out of that you have depreciation of $566,000. So a lot of that excess expenses is tied to non-cash items. But and then the 1.6 million of credit loss, again, that's a non-cash in that you didn't pay it out, but you didn't collect the revenue. So, but it, from a GAAP accounting, goes into that excess expenses over revenues. Looking at your cash flow, which is often overlooked but very important, your start of the year, you had beginning cash at $3 million. As I said, the end of the year, 2.1. But in that, in addition to that, you put like 500,000 into some investment accounts. So really, you had $3 million down to 2.6 million, and you had some additional investments you purchased. I mean, obviously, your assets, et cetera. So that's the main takeaway out of that. Moving on to maybe notes to the financials. As I said, it was an unqualified opinion, which means it's a clean opinion, which means we say that these financials fairly present the financial activities of the entity. There's a lot of standard footnotes that you'll read. I don't need to read a lot of them, but the main ones will be, again, the AR and the $5.9 million that we say is in doubt of being collected, so that's a big issue. Your depreciation and amortization, I said it was 500-something thousand, but when you take all of those types of items, it was actually 756,000 in the year. Your federal income tax, as we said, was 28. I got 28,000, 28, 29, depending on a couple of different things was there. And then you've got your notes. We give you some detail on your notes and how the future payouts of those are taking place, along with your right-to-use assets. So I see some people starting to yawn. I probably better get on to saying it's wrapped up on that. But I will say, just kind of in closing with your audit, you'll enjoy looking at the numbers when you can't sleep, et cetera. But this year, one of the reasons we were able to get the final audit report before your meeting is it was just much smoother. We had one entity that we were able to get financials from. They were available and responsive, and everything came together like what you would hope versus what it's always been. So very positive in that from our standpoint. Again, just looking at the numbers, working to get your audit, it was a very good experience this year. So for all of those that helped make that happen, I could really tell the difference. So anyway, okay. And I think I need to go ahead and give the results. So the results of your election this year are as follows, and I'm sure this will get posted as well. But you had a total voting of 25.11%. And I will just read it, I think, in order of the ones that were elected. Mike Ellis received 1,304 votes and was elected. Will Sasser received 1,241 votes and was elected. And Dana Sharrock received 1,166 votes and was elected. So your three that were elected was Dana Sharrock, Mike Ellis, and Will Sasser. The other candidates received several hundred votes, and then there was a few that received just some write-in votes. But those three received substantial numbers to be elected and have been elected. So there's my certified results, a copy for the board, and I'll give a copy. I don't know if y'all keep them separate, but there you go. Both of you have those, and that is your results. All right, thank you. Mm-hmm.
Okay, the very last item on our agenda today is the open forum. So property owners may ask questions to the board or comment about issues pertaining to White Bluff. Please limit your comments or questions to 4 minutes. Whenever you come up, if you'd like to stand here at the microphone. Yeah, going once. All right. With that, you want to close the meeting, Mr. President?
So again, thank you all for attending. Congratulations to both incumbent board members, Will Sasser, Mike Ellis, and to Dana Chirac as a new board member. God bless you all. I have enjoyed my time here, and I appreciate all the warm sentiments and the fine notes that I've gotten over the last few weeks from many of you. I can't say enough good things about having Sue Ellen and Keith on board, but I'll also say to Will Delgado, who's the president of Castle Group, who's in here from Florida. These guys have done a tremendous amount of work to get us to the point where we can turn around the audit in 4 months from the end of the year. We have data on our billings and collections, and so all we got to get right is the billing on July 1. So thank you all for attending, and with that, do I hear a motion to adjourn? We got a motion and a second. We are adjourned. Thank you.